What has befallen you? He said to me in a melancholy voice, when he saw the undoubted signs of my zeal for the service. Where did you thus swill yourself? Oh! Good heavens! Such a misfortune never happened before. Hold your tongue, old owl, I replied, stammering, I am sure you are drunk. Go to bed, but first help me to bed. The next day I awoke with a bad headache. I only remembered confusedly the occurrences of the past evening. My meditations were broken by Savalieach, who came into my room with a cup of tea. You begin early making free, Petr Andreevich, he said to me, shaking his head. Well, where do you get it from? It seems to me that neither your father nor your grandfather were drunkards. We needn't talk of your mother, she has never touched a drop of anything since she was born, except Kvost. 14. So whose fault is it? Whose but the confounded Monsieur? He taught you fine things, that son of a dog, and well worth the trouble of taking a pagan for your servant, as if our master had not had enough servants of his own. I was ashamed. I turned round and said to him, Go away, Savalieach, I don't want any tea. But it was impossible to quiet Savalieach when once he had begun to sermonize. Do you see now, Petr Andreevich, said he, what it is to commit follies? You have a headache, you won't take anything. A man who gets drunk is good for nothing. Do take a little pickled cucumber with honey or half a glass of brandy to sober you. What do you think? At this moment a little boy came in, who brought me a note from Zareen. I unfolded it and read as follows. Dear Petr Andreevich, oblige me by sending by bearer the 100 rubles you lost to me yesterday. I want money dreadfully. Your devoted? Ivan Zareen. There was nothing for it. I assumed a look of indifference, and, addressing myself to Savalieach, I bid him hand over 100 rubles to the little boy. What, why? He asked me in great surprise. I owe them to him, I answered as coldly as possible. You owe them to him, retorted Savalieach, whose surprise became greater. When had you the time to run up such a debt? It is impossible. Do what you please, Excellency, but I will not give this money. I then considered that, if in this decisive moment I did not oblige this obstinate old man to obey me, it would be difficult for me in future to free myself from his tutelage. Glancing at him haughtily, I said to him, "I am your master, you are my servant." The money is mine, I lost it because I chose to lose it. I advise you not to be headstrong, and to obey your orders. My words made such an impression on Savéliitch that he clasped his hands and remained dumb and motionless. "What are you standing there for like a stock?" I exclaimed, angrily. Savéliitch began to weep. "Oh! My father, Petr Andreitch," sobbed he, in a trembling voice, "do not make me die of sorrow." "Oh! My light, hearken to me who am old, write to this robber that you were only joking, that we never had so much money." ₹100. Good heavens! Tell him your parents have strictly forbidden you to play for anything but nuts. Will you hold your tongue? Said I, hastily, interrupting him. Hand over the money, or I will kick you out of the place. Savéliitch looked at me with a deep expression of sorrow, and went to fetch my money. I was sorry for the poor old man, but I wished to assert myself, and prove that I was not a child. Zareen got his ₹100. Savéliitch was in haste to get me away from this unlucky inn. He came in telling me the horses were harnessed. I left Simbirsk with an uneasy conscience, and with some silent remorse, without taking leave of my instructor, whom I little thought I should ever see again. Chapter 2: The Guide. My reflections during the journey were not very pleasant. According to the value of money at that time, my loss was of some importance. I could not but confess to myself that my conduct at the Simbirsk Inn had been most foolish, and I felt guilty toward Savéliitch. All this worried me. The old man sat, in sulky silence, in the forepart of the sledge, with his face averted, every now and then giving a cross little cough. I had firmly resolved to make peace with him, but I did not know how to begin. At last I said to him, "Look here, Savéliitch, let us have done with all this, let us make peace." "Oh! My little father, Petr Andreitch, he replied, with a deep sigh. I am angry with myself, it is I who am to blame for everything. What possessed me to leave you alone in the inn? But what could I do? The devil would have it so, else why did it occur to me to go and see my gossip the deacon's wife, and thus it happened, as the proverb says. I left the house and was taken to prison. What ill luck! What ill luck! How shall I appear again before my master and mistress? What will they say when they hear that their child is a drunkard and a gamester? To comfort poor Savéliitch, I gave him my word of honor that in future I would not spend a single kopeck without his consent.